right, my people, blessed, welcome to the platform. Remember, please, hit that like button coming through the door, ladies and gentlemen. People, my voice gone. I'm still do this. I hope you guys understand the sacrifices that we make, the sleepless nights, the sleepless days. You understand what I say? No energy, no appetite, just the sacrifice we make. Our mental, physical, spiritual, everything. Sacrifice we make to put out content. Please appreciate the content by hitting the like button. There's a donation option. You're not obligated to donate. You don't have to donate. I'm speaking to the people that want to support the platform because they appreciate it so much that they want to take it to that next level. Oh, I remember I'm supposed to do a video to put out the drone that I want to buy. I must remember to do that. I'm so busy, I keep forgetting that, but I need to do that. Anyway, today we're going to go to the University of, follow me on all platforms that you see on the screen right there, please and thanks. We are almost close on Bolo TBV, ladies and gentlemen, to reach to 1,000 subs. On Bolo VNR clips, we need to get to 5,000. Badly. Bolo VNR, we also need to get to like 5,000 or 10,000 there. It's way behind where it's supposed to be, honestly. On Bolo VNR clips, we're on our way to 25K. We need 7,000 more, so hey, let's get it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and watch the content. Be respectful in the comment section, even if you disagree. And that's that. Now, we're going to go to the University of Mystic Sensation. And he's going to raise some concerns about some things that I particularly had some concerns about. Which I raised as well on my platform. But, the way how Mystic does it with the evidence, you got to definitely check it out. So, this was like 4 days ago. I encourage people to go ahead and check out Mystic Sensation. Watch the content. As a matter of fact, let me just do it like this, since I'm on the computer, and show y'all the page so you guys can go over there and support the platform. Alright, and sub up as well. Alright, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, Mystic Sensation and his wife right there. Alright, both of them run the platform. Go ahead and subscribe. Alright, so let's get back to this. Alright, let the music play. See what he gotta say.
So I'm going to play that, but what is going to follow next is going to be very, very serious that I want to point Jamaica to. And I want to speak on GLP, gun trafficking, and drugs trafficking. And I'm going to open Jamaican eyes. Jamaicans are going to play Mark Golden concern as it relates to, right, Andrew Holness, tyrannical behavior, right, which seems to be that, he wants to establish dictatorship in Jamaica.
This is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
The People's National Party unequivocally condemns the government's latest move to oust the Auditor General as a commissioner of the Integrity Commission. This move represents yet another calculated step in a broader pattern of deliberate and dangerous assaults by this administration on Jamaica's anti-corruption architecture. The Auditor General has been a member of Jamaica's principal integrity oversight bodies since independence. The JLP's argument for the removal of the Auditor General from this critical role is spurious. There is no constitutional or other impediment to having the Integrity Commission audited by the independent professional audit firm, which is a well-established practice utilized by various public sector bodies. The synergistic benefits of the Auditor General being a member of the Integrity Commission in the fight against corruption outweigh the contrived arguments to the contrary, which is why it is specifically provided for in the Integrity Commission Act that was passed under this administration. This latest move must be seen in the context of a broader, deeply troubling pattern under the JLP government. Leading members of the government continuously attack the Integrity Commission, Everett Wilmington MP, has led a crusade of misinformation in an attempt to dismantle the Integrity Commission. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck provided misguided encouragement of parliamentarians not to submit statutory declarations, including information for their spouses, which was a clear breach of their statutory duty under the Act. The Prime Minister himself has gone as far as to file a lawsuit to challenge the Integrity Commission Act itself and the very offense of illicit enrichment for which he is under investigation. And then there is a recent appointment of someone who is fundamentally compromised and unqualified to lead the Financial Investigations Division. These are not isolated incidents. This is an unprecedented and dangerous trend that seeks to intimidate and discredit the very institutions tasked with promoting integrity in public life. These are deliberate and coordinated actions by a government that has shown increasing hostility to scrutiny and accountability. What we are witnessing is a step towards tyranny, as institutions which are designed to protect the people from financial abuse of power are being stripped of their independence, weakened, and politicized. The PNP will not allow this to continue. If the government carries through this latest move, the PNP, when in government, will restore the Auditor General as a commissioner of the Integrity Commission. We will safeguard our anti-corruption institutions, ensuring that they remain independent, fully resourced, and above political interference. We will introduce long overdue legislation for unexplained wealth orders, which are another critical anti-corruption tool that this government has reneged on. And we will amend the Constitution to enable the impeachment of delinquent parliamentarians. The Jamaican people deserve better than a government that is at war with good governance. The PNP calls on the private sector, the churches, civil society, trade unions, and indeed all right-thinking Jamaicans to stand up and speak out against the systemic dismantling of our democratic safeguards. We must defend the institutions that protect our future.
Visit our website at PNP.
Let me say this categorically clear, that Mark Golden is my Ibrahim Traore in Jamaica. The love and passion that Mark Golden has, right, for Jamaican people in terms of good governance, right, fighting for the Jamaican people and fighting for our constitutional rights. That was simply what Mark Golden is doing. Now, Mark Golden leadership in governance, by Mark Golden, right, as it relates to doing totally contrary from Andrew Holness, right, simply being honest, simply have integrity, right, taxpayers' money, right, will be used where they are supposed to be used, right, as opposed to Andrew Holness, where taxpayers' money, right, being used in their pockets, right. And so then we see that Mark Golden leadership with honesty and integrity, right, and where the tax dollars, right, is going to serve taxpayers as it ought to, Jamaica is going to turn around, right? Jamaica will be getting back its moral compass. Now, I am going to show Jamaica as it relates to the serious situation of the history of the Jamaica Labour Party. Now, in 1979, I want everyone to listen to me and speak to the electorate. A couple months going down to the general election in 1980, we have seen the islands flooded with a lot of guns. It was the first year in our Jamaica history the rifle like M16 and AR-15 rifle reached our shores. I want people to do the research.
Bushmaster, yeah.
The Jamaica Labour Party, right, flood them in to the island. Let us give another reflection. Here we are in 2025. What we have seen and what we have been witness to, several guns coming into the island. A propaganda that twitch as it relates to a particular news media. Try to create a propaganda to say it is Two People's National Party as a call to him, right? that involved in terms of the sourcing of weapons to Jamaica. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. No police have that report anywhere, but yet that social media has it. So we are showing you, you understand the trickery that been used in 1979, right? They are surfacing it in this particular time. Why? Andrew Holness knows very well that he will not win this general election. Andrew Holness also knows very well that if he loses this general election, he is going to find himself in the judiciary. Don't worry about it. Mark Golden, I've told him time and time again, right, that he's going to ensure the wheels of justice spin in the direction where it ought to spin. And so then, by any means necessary to them, right, they want to hold on to power. Now, let me show you the grave concerns civil society has about going into a general election. All of a sudden, a lot of guns being surfacing. When these guns found, and I want to applaud the police, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, right, and others outside external forces who are giving the information to stop these guns. When they are found, right, the JLP narrative is to spin it, make it look like, okay, all right, they are the ones who are stopping these weapons. They are the ones who are sourcing these weapons. I am going to prove it. I am going to show you history. They are the ones who are responsible. They want violence for this general election. Now, let us get into this document. Christian Grow over unprecedented illegals. Let us show you something, people. I want you to walk with me tonight. Right? Remember, the man who claimed that you understand he created system to find the gun is the very same man who WikiLeaks have. WikiLeaks have Horace Chang as one of those persons who guilty of gun transshipment in Jamaica. That is WikiLeaks document. That is not information. You understand that we are just talking on social media. That's evident. Now, let us look at this. Jamaicans are seeking answer after officials reveal a massive illegal firearm seizure described by experts as the largest in the country's history, with enough guns and ammunition to arm a small army. More than a week after the police and customs said they had intercepted 233 illegal rifles and handguns and more than 40,000 rounds of ammunition, the government has remained tight-lipped about the details of the find. Arguing that revealing more information would hamper a sensitive cross-border investigation into their origin and the identity of those involved. So let me ask, if you have the identity of those involved, why no arrest has been made? This is what you said here. Let me bring it up for people to see. Let me bring it up. The government has remained tight-lipped about the details of the find, right? Arguing that revealing more information would hamper a sensitive cross-border investigation into their origin and the identity of those involved. And we say that, you know, if the government is saying this. So then if the government have the identity, right, or they are looking into, right, based on what they said, and a sensitive cross-border investigation into their origin and the identity of those involved, right? So look at what being stated here. According to unconfirmed local reports, the guns and ammunition were discovered inside an industrial-sized water heater at a warehouse in the country's capital, Kingston. Announcing the seizure is hastily organized press conference. The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Security, Horace Chang, told journalists that the operation was reported a bit early. Chang refused to give details now of the operation. Yes, Chang refused to give details of the operation, telling reporters that the more we talk about it, the less likely we are to find those responsible, adding, in fact, too much information has already gone out. What does Chang mean by that? God, he knows. Jason McKay, a criminologist, said in Jamaica, which is already battling high homicide rates like gun and trafficking from the US, should be treating the discovery of enough guns to fight a government as a crisis. Take it away. I am going to show you something with the next document. Jamaica is going to alarm about this. I am going to show Jamaica something about the next document where Jamaica is going to allow. Here I spoke about 1979 reflection as it relates to several goals coming in the island by the Jamaica Labour Party. Coming down into our election, 2025, we have seen a similar pattern. But now let me set the record straight as it relates to how Byron just come up with these things. Let me set the record straight and show you the evidence that we have. People are going to surprise. Without any delay, let us dig up Jamaica Observer. See how we cannot have it both ways. Let us get into it. Let us remind Jamaica about this. Let us get into it, people. Here it is. Stiaga cannot have it both ways. This is Mark Wignall, June 19, 2010. In 1999, Tisona, who in the early 1980s was in Jamaica operating as a manager of Eddie Stiaga's much vaunted Spring Plains Agro 21 project, I want to listen to this good enough, people, was convicted of conspiracy and money laundering for disguising $43 million in Colombian drug cash for the Cali cartel as profit from a family jewelry business. He was sentenced to more than 19 years in prison and fined $50,000. In June 1999, he was found guilty of all 146 federal counts against him in one of his nation's biggest drug laundering trials. Charged against Tisona, including filing false bank statement and making illegal overseas wire transfers. And watch this now, people.
Attention, all Jamaicans! Do you realize a $60,000 a month light bill is just over $700,000 a year? And in the end, you have nothing to show? Our air conditioner capable systems start from $650,000 plus installation. Tisona Solar makes it possible for you to own a safe, warranty-backed solar system that can turn you into an energy producer. Call us on 876-315-5870 or visit tisonasolar.com.
For those who came in late, Spring Plain was Siaga's high-tech, Israeli partnered agricultural investment while he was prime minister that would see Jamaica selling winter vegetable to the US market. Other projects involve growing tilapia, macadamia, nuts, hearts of farms, and other non-traditional crops for export. And watch this now, people. Why Tisona had most favored person status in the eyes of the boss in Jamaica House? Two ministers in the Stiaga-led government, Tony Abrams in tourism and Brascoli in agriculture, told me at the time of Tisona's conviction that on separate official trips they had made to Israel in the 1980s, they were approached by government officials who told them that Tisona, who was being paraded as an agricultural expert in Jamaica, people want to listen, was in fact an Israeli mobster. Israeli mobster. Watch this now, people. Both men told me that on their return, they took the information to Prime Minister Stiaga. Watch this. Tisona continued as the guru of Jamaica's new launch into high-tech agriculture until it became bankrupt. Last 48 million and continued to rack up debt until 550 acres of farmland in Clarendon was leased to high-tech farms in 2001. A joint venture between Jamaica and Chinese investors that two bombed miserably. While Tisona was in Jamaica, right, planes were leased specifically. We're not listening to people because we have seen several planes coming to Jamaica, right? And we are crash landed in Jamaica. We don't know what they're carrying in Jamaica, right? And no form of conclusion to those planes that landed. Now we are seeing it under Holness administration. We're not listening to people. Planes were leased specifically to fly out winter vegetable to the US. The planes flew over from Colombia early in the morning. People arrived in Jamaica, then were loaded with winter vegetables after which they took off. I don't know what loaded with those winter vegetables. They are not winter vegetables as in winter vegetables. We want to understand that. Well, go on. Today, as we sense that there is a burning need among our people to see a cleaning up of our politics and a detachment between it and organized criminality. When you hear that, people, we need to ask ourselves if our leader, president and past, have been entirely honest with us as we struggle to force their hands towards a new governance and a whole new interface with us, right, as the voters. Eddie Stiaga, who is the architect of Jamaica's first official garrison enclave. I want you to listen up, people. Listen to this. Eddie Thiaga, who is the architect of Jamaica's first official garrison enclave, Tivoli Gardens, has been at pains to point out the goodness of the community. But incredibly, when there is mention of its wards, boys, guns, ammunition, and highly organized criminality, it is someone else's fault. Want to hear that? Just like what they are doing now with the IPA gun fine, and all of a sudden them talk about it is too PNP, rare, blah, 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 and they have no evidence of such a same propaganda strategy playing out here. You know what this is saying, you know, people? The same propaganda strategy Andrew is playing out, you know. Eddie Thiaga, who is the architect of Jamaica's first official garrison enclave, Tivoli Garden, has been at pains to point out the goodness of the community. But incredibly, when there is mention of its wards, boys, guns, ammunition, and highly organized criminality, it is someone else's fault. The same thing Andrew Holness is carrying off. The same strategy that he learned from Edward Thiaga. In 1992, when he described Lester Lloyd Jim Brown Cook as the protector of the community and walked at the front of his funeral procession, he had failed to elaborate what Jim Brown was using to protect Tivoli Gardens. Toothpicks, paper bags, lollipop sticks, no. What Jim Brown was using to protect Tivoli Gardens was high-powered weapon, M16, AR-15. Now, as Uriah King pointed out in the excellent piece on Thiaga last Thursday, Edward Thiaga, right, deification of a demigod. Thiaga's accolades arise mostly from a hangover of a time that many of us want to forget. In a recall a conversation I had with Thiaga late one night at his home in 1996, after a media party, he was, as I saw it, talking rubbish about doppies and spirits. His wife Carla was there, and so was my then wife, Anne-Marie. But there was also another person, a woman of complexion much darker than my own. As I interjected, she stopped me in my tracks with, no, let me finish, let him finish. As I look across at her, I saw in her eyes not admiration, but pure adoration. Thiaga was her demigod, and demigods must be allowed to talk rubbish while sensible folk must listen and applaud. This view was spoken by Thiaga's sister Jean Anderson, as she criticized me recently. I had implied in a column 2 Sundays ago that in the 1990s, with Mutty Perkins and myself were invited to search for tunnels in Tivoli Gardens because we were no specialists in such matters. It came across as nothing more than good PR for the JLP and Eddie Thiaga. According to Anderson, I was jealous because Thiaga had recently mentioned on a nationwide program that he had taken Perkins to look for tunnels and he had found none. I pointed out that Perkins had done nothing more than greet Tivoli residents and that it was I who had embarked on that most foolish exercise. Second, you are true to form in your article in today's Observer. Your writing is getting more vindictive, confused, and illogical by the day. I have diagnosed the baggage you carry around and put in your columns for selected targets as that of red eye and prejudice. Am I right? In other words, there are certain sacred cows in this country that are off limits to certain people who refuse to know them place. And in perfectly complimenting Anderson's idiocy, Perkins was on his show the following Monday, more than implying that I was peeved because Thiaga did not mention my name. An endorsement from Thiaga, Mutti, you have lost your head. As far as I am concerned, as the scrutiny forces continue their operation, there is one man who has singled out himself who needs to be questioned in depth. He has a lot of answers to many questions. A few weeks ago, when I sat down with Energy and Mining Minister James Robertson, the first thing which struck me was the impressive Barry Watson painting hanging on a wall to one side of his desk. I suggested to him that such a painting by the Jamaican master would cost in the region of 40,000 US. But at the same time, I asked him what would be the reason of using taxpayers' money from a poor country like Jamaica to purchase such an exquisite and expensive painting and have it literally hidden away only for the benefit of a selected few. I inherited it, Mark. I came here and I saw it hanging there. He said, I nodded my head and wondered if Watson was one of those painters who would, on the purchase of one of his largest pieces, probably make a gift of a smaller, less exquisite piece. If such a thing, a less exquisite, could be used to describe a Watson painting to the purchaser. If so, and it is big, where was the other piece? Well, I suppose certain creation comforts the norm. So we sat down and sniffed through many files and folders, most of them highly technical reports and matters to do mostly with addressing Jamaica energy needs, and especially in a climate where consumers have long singled out Jamaica Public Service Company as the enemy. However, I wanted to focus on Plan LNG roll out. Much of what we do in this country is planned, but after that, many years pass before implementation. Would this be another such plan? This country has been an energy crisis from 1973 until now. He said no new technology in terms of addressing that crisis and that new energy need has been implemented. I want you to know some basis when would LNG be available and how much savings would occur from that. So, all right, take it away. Now, as we pointed out, right, let us go to now the real deal, right? Jamaica drug gangs. Janet, let us go to the real deal and then we bring in the panel. Now, people, want to watch this now. We are breaking it down and show what we are showing. We are showing Edward Siaga, right, linked with this so-called Israeli to do business in Jamaica. But the business that they were doing was drugs operation, drugs running, and gun smuggling. Now, watch this now, people. And this is from the U.S. Department. On the come, people. U.S. Department of Justice. So we don't tell no like nobody, you know. That's why we bring up the evidence. U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program. Now look here. After this, we're going to bring up the panel and we are going to talk as it relates to the recent guns fines coming into Jamaica. And watch this now, people. Jamaican drug gangs, Johnny Too Bad and the sufferers. Here is the number, 148885, right? Dated, right? Since 1984, when U.S. law enforcement authorities began to track them, Jamaican passes have killed more than 1,400 people nationwide as of 1989. Passes such as the rankers, people want to listen to this, and the shower have spread from Jamaica to Florida and New York. These are the passes that involved with the Jamaica Labour Party, that involved as it relates to many killings under the Jamaica Labour Party. This is from the United States. Now what's this? This not have nothing to do with PNP, you know. We're only showing as it relates to the flooding of guns in the 1979, and now in 2025 we see guns are coming on the island like wow. And we see that it seems like under Andrew Holness administration, 1982.0 want to be recreated. Recreated. So I am warning Andrew Holness and his administration. That's why we are reading out the evidence. The Rankers Party began as a Jamaica Labour Party and Mr. Tisona, US, during the 1980 election campaign of Edward Siaga. The Shower Party also worked for the JLP and Siaga, and profits from marijuana sales in Miami and New York enabled the party to purchase guns for the JLP. People want to hear the evidence. We bring out the evidence, we do the research. In Jamaica politics generally, local members of parliament often funnel jobs, money, and guns to their constituents through gangs. In addition, police operate eradication squads for political objectives. Human rights organizations now monitor police brutality in Jamaica. In the United States, Jamaican parties have changed from primarily political gangs to cocaine syndicates as well. They still keep old party vendettas alive and old loyalties intact. People who hear that, what I want you to point out in terms of what you are mirroring here, that they still have the accessibility and the know-how to bring in these guns. These parties that cling to the GLP, and when me say that, is the US, is the United States officials saying that. What the United States officials are saying, people, they still keep old party vendettas alive and old loyalties intact. Specific operations of Jamaican posse are described. Okay. We don't know I'm going to the certain files, right? But where it is showing you that the two serious party that link with the trafficking of guns and drugs to Jamaica. Now, my people, my Jamaican people, I am going to go to the panel now. As we see the growth concern all of a sudden, right, the man who WikiLeaks push out and said, Oreston involved in guns and drugs smuggling. And I'm say that to WikiLeaks have it as a cable, right? It is the same man who is speaking on the findings of the guns. But guess what, Jamaican people, what I want you to understand? It has nothing, the finding of the guns has nothing to do with Oreston or Andrew Holness. What happens is that they get intel from the United States as it relates to United States, giving them intel and ensuring that they take off the guns from off the street of Jamaica. To the fact that the guns got busted, they are trying to know what? Using reverse psychology. As if to say, okay, all right, it is their policies. You understand that they implement certain things that they put in finding the guns. No, that is not how it works. We taught you. It is your affiliators who are sourcing in the guns. We have TikTokers and TikToks even saying that they will come to Jamaica and fire gun for GLP. And we say that, And we say it. Plain evidence. So I want to show the evidence as it relates to what happened from the 1979 going into 80, where GLP bringing the loads of gun in Jamaica, right? And where Andrew Holness, right, came under the leadership of Edward Siaga of the tenureship. And here it is that Andrew Holness pulling out the same strategy, my people, with the amount of guns coming into the island. You understand? And I want to, let me say this again, I want to say thanks to the Jamaica Constabulary Force to stop these weapons and ensure that these weapons are not put in back on the streets. Now, what we want from Andrew Holness and Oreston, let me say this before I let you in the panel. I want them to show us, as it relates to the amount of gun fines that they confiscated these weapons. How are they destroying these weapons? We want to make sure that these weapons are not recirculating back into the hands where it was meant to be, where it was intercepted. Right? We have seen drug plane coming in. You understand? Landing in Jamaica, no evidence complete. You're nothing, anything. Right? You don't know what those planes bring in, whether it bring in drugs, and guns or what. Nothing, here under the Jamaica Labour Party administration. So I want Andrew Holness from now. Please don't go down that road. Having said that, melting pot, coming at the space.
Yeah, just listening to your report on the documents that you've read out, it shows where the Jamaica Labour Party had 3 gangs, 2 official and one unofficial. In the case of the Rankers and the Shower Posse, they were official gang, but they also used the Eradication Squad as an unofficial gang, so to speak, that we were looking at. But here is the report highlighting such an event that took place in the 80s. And so we know for a fact that the Jamaica Labour Party is a violence-producing party. When it comes to upstirring and manipulating a society, they are the best at that. And when you look at what happened in the case of even now, we know for a fact from back in the 70s that the CIA was linked to the Jamaica Labour Party. But now we see where America has turned its back on the Jamaica Labour Party, because the Jamaica Labour Party exported a lot of criminals into the United States in the 80s. And by 1984, 1,400 people were murdered at the hands of the Rankers and the Shower Posse. And so the United States take a dim view at being, affiliated to this party and start to break ties with them and start to expose the high level of corruption and drugs trafficking and gun trafficking So we know now that America, yes, give them the heads up as to the shipment of gun and ammunition coming into Jamaica. We know where it went, that only GLP operative used that facility, because I will remind the people in Jamaica that that facility, an industrial terrace, is the former old Jamaica Humming bus service depot and garage. That is beside the railway line track. No other people use it apart from Jamaica Labour Party affiliated member. And
Exactly.
even where it came, Newport East belongs to them. It run by Tivoli operative. That's their port where them thing come in. It don't go Newport West. It come at Newport East and just go across the road to Industrial Terrace. And so we know for a fact that they were out to start another revolution in Jamaica as it relates to civil unrest. They did that in the 80s. And Jamaica has never rid itself from these high influx of gun being shipped into the country. Ever since that period of time in Jamaica political history, we have not rid ourselves because more guns and more guns keep coming in. So we now have to make sure now that we apply the security members, as the rightfully said Byron, into the apprehension of this massive scale of importation of guns and ammunition. But what we should also demand from them is the, destruction of these weapons and ammunition. It should be an video evidence that the
Yes.
public can see that it's not being recycled back into the hands of the
Exactly.
intended receiver.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we should see a controlled damage operation in regards to these guns and ammunition. So that is where I have a problem with the findings. And not just this one, but several more findings. Because we have
Yes.
not seen where the drugs have been destroyed. We are not seeing where the guns and ammunition has been destroyed. So we are left in the dark
Very
as to
good.
what is the outcomes of these findings. Because no one has been charged in relation to the high importation of cocaine into Jamaica. No one has been charged. Into the seizure of guns and ammunition, no one has been charged. So that's a loose end that need to tie up,
So true.
because we have to see action on the ground to give this operation the 100% backing and support that it deserves. But under the circumstance that currently exists, we are left in the dark. And we have to hold this Jamaica Labour Party government accountable for what is happening. Now, I know for a fact that the People's National Party is a party that has decency, high moral standard, high code of ethic, and transparency. And it's a party that loves the Jamaican people. That's why it goes with the name People's National Party. In the 70s, when Sir Michael Manley was hard at work laying the foundation for the development of Jamaica, showing the people them love, giving them care, giving them opportunity. Here was the Jamaica Labour Party starting the war, the tribal war that plagued the inner city at the time. Right? They also went and the skirmish action of burning down Evelyn Tide home, killing 153 women from our society, and trying to blame that fire on the People's National Party. Not knowing that people from within America had done a documentary on the said matter, but it was in safekeeping. Lo and behold, what was revealed? It was revealed that the CIA, in conjunction with the Jamaica Labour Party, set about that fire at Evelyn Tide home, using a petroleum that was not in Jamaica at the time, that could only be sourced from America. So we see where this Jamaica Labour Party is a destructive party in our society. is a destructive party that has waged civil war on the citizens of Jamaica. In the 1980 election, 889 young men lost their life through this political skirmish of tribal war. And now we are seeing where they're trying to repeat the same dose. So we have to be very critical of this party. And as I said on previous occasion, this party, after this general election, must not be reinstated as a political party in Jamaica.
True.
We have to have some mechanism that dismantle this party once and for all, and hold the current crop of member of parliament accountable for their corruption and wrongdoing. And I sure know when you put them in front of the justice system and you use reputable judges, which we know we have some of them still in Jamaica, we will find that these men are charged for various amount of crime that right now we are not even looking at some of them. Because we're mainly focusing on, the corruption within the running day-to-day of the country in terms of the finance that gone missing and, from the various ministry and stuff like that. But they are also involved in other crime that plague our society. Most of them are the ones who are importing the cocaine into Jamaica. The gun shipmen are coming to them. They are selling guns and ammunition as a part of their business, because all of these men like to have business on the side of doing daily government duties. So we will find that there are a lot more for us to uncover, but it will only take the judicial system, a good judicial system, to look into the background of these criminal Jamaica Labour Party member of parliament and to bring them to justice. And I yield back the floor to another member of the panel.
Yeah, people, so only here where mistake have to say. See, I'm there to make melting pot cook, Everything happens very easy. You understand? Because it is important that we learn this history. So again, people, as me say, when I have to go make sure so I go over to the University of Mystic Sensation. Make sure so I go over to the University of Mystic Sensation, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Make sure to subscribe, click the bell and click all so you get all notifications. Hopefully you get all notifications, alright? Yeah, man, so remember to like, share and subscribe. Don't keep this to yourself. This is the type of information and history where everybody needs to know about this dark, wicked present government. Their history is marred in blood and the violation of the Jamaican people's human rights, constitutional rights. I call them the Jamaica Lawless Party. The more I learn about them, is the more I realize just how evil and wicked these people are. You understand? And it's not like you see a reform in the party and you have a new resurgence, a new image, and a new stance. When you hear the utterances, you can hear the remnants of the past coming through the mouth of Holness, Desmond, Mckenzie, Everett Warmington, and some others. Some others that don't usually get the microphone to use, but anytime them talk, you can hear it. You can hear the dark evilness coming out of them. And trust me, I cannot support it. So, people, tell me what you think in the comment section. That is it.